It's a very good afternoon. You're watching ZTN News Blitz. Let's take a look at our top stories. Illegal money changers back at work. 140 Zimbabweans to be released from quarantine. Nigeria demolishes 2 hotels for breaching lockdown. And in sport, is Harrison leaving Bosso? We'll give you more. Over 140 Zimbabwean returnees who were staying at a quarantine facility in Beitbridge will be released today. The Director of Social Welfare in the Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Mr. Totamirepi Tirivavi, said the move is part of the government's efforts to decongest the Beitbridge Centre. He said the centre should remain with 150 people and that those who have completed quarantining will be assisted with transport to their respective homes. Mr. Tirivavi said security has also been beefed up with more members of the police force and the Zimbabwean National Army to enhance the safety of the returnees and the general public.
Working on trying to decongest the center. So there are those that had a second test done, there are a second rapid test, and they were found to be negative. And those are the people that we are discharging, so that at least they will go and complete their quarantine in their respective homes. So we're expecting roughly around 140.
Daring illegal money changers are back in the streets of Harare, occupying their usual spots in total defiance of lockdown regulations. On May the 1st, President Emerson Mnangagwa extended the national lockdown by 2 weeks, but partially reopened some sectors of the economy in order to strike a balance between combating COVID-19 and allowing economic activities to continue. National Police spokesperson, Assistant Commissioner Paul Nyati speaks.
As we speak, last week kune vamwe vakatosungwa and we are quite aware kune vamwe vari kuoperatera mudzimotikari varumwe vamwe vari kuoperatera mudzimba, so definitely those people will be arrested.
Harare City Council has embarked on a blitz to close illegal, unlicensed and defaulting shop operators as it seeks to plug revenue losses due to non-renewal of licenses. The crackdown is being enforced by teams comprising environment inspectors, health officers and municipal police officers. Council says it's losing potential revenue running into millions of dollars every year as business operators in the greater Harare area fail to pay for licenses. City spokesperson Michael Chideme spoke to ZTN.
Yes, Council stands guided by the SI as pronounced by His Excellency the President. So any shops that are opening without the requisite requirements will be asked to close until they get the requirements, and then they can operate.
Still with the capital, Harare City Council's parking management subsidiary, City Parking, has reportedly laid off its contract workers as the business reels from the effects of non-operation under the coronavirus-induced lockdown. The parking firm joins the banking sector and other businesses that have been laying off contract workers. After close to a month without takings from on-street parking, the firm naturally took a knock. Sources at the organization told ZTN that some permanent workers have also been sent on forced leave. However, City Parking spokesperson Francis Mandaza claimed the company had not parked any of its employees. Most parents find it difficult to start conversations with their children about the COVID-19 pandemic. Messages on the pandemic can sometimes be too abstract for young minds to comprehend. As such, parents have the task of breaking down these messages into small, meaningful chunks for their children. But some of these little ones can surprise you with just how much they know. ZTN correspondent Bongani Siziba spoke to some young minds just to find out how much they know about COVID-19.
With coronavirus upon us, most parents do not know how to start conversations with their children so that they can also take part in helping curb the spread. But this young man,
with almost 2 weeks since the 2020 tobacco marketing season began, activity at the auction floors has been subdued. Some players in the sector have attributed this to restrictions on movements due to the national lockdown, while some farmers have been struggling to access transport recommended by authorities to avoid crowding at the floors. Our correspondent Blessing Manatsi is at the floors to give us more.
With more than a month's delay in the opening of Zimbabwe's tobacco marketing and selling season, tobacco selling and marketing has begun in Harare. In fact, it's almost 2 weeks since SI 94 of 2020, making way for tobacco players to go about their business, of course in line with WHO guidelines that prevent the spread of COVID was announced. Now, it is business unusual. I am at Boca Tobacco auction floors where a handful of people is there. The tobacco marketing and selling season is usually characterized, of course, by a high volume of farmers that make their way to sell their gold leaf. Also hundreds if not thousands of vendors downstream waiting to sell their wares and also property. This is not the case as I speak right now. A whole space meant for vending stalls is virtually closed and virtually empty.
TIMB Chief Executive Officer Dr. Andrew Matibiri says the auction floors will soon be busy.
Early days, so there's no real pattern at the moment that we can talk about. Yeah, most of the offerings are of the lower quality, the lower leaves from the plant. And a lot of farmers are saying that they're only given less than a few days notice on the opening of the floor. So they are only now starting to grade their tobacco in earnest. So expect sales to pick up, in my view, perhaps from starting about next week. Yeah, if you go into auction floors now, they are processing 400 bales per day. When at peak, they can process about 16,000. So it's very, very low. That's why I said there's no real pattern to talk about yet. Let's see and let's wait until perhaps the end of next week. I think deliveries will be up.
In March 2019, tragedy struck in Chimanimani district, southeast of Zimbabwe. Tropical cyclone Idai killed hundreds of people and displaced thousands. Now, a year after the disaster, survivors are still counting their losses. They're yet to get decent accommodation and are putting up in tents at various transit camps that were set up in the district. The following report captures the displaced villagers' experiences and anxieties in the aftermath of the cyclone.
Just over a year ago, a ravaging cyclone Idai left many homeless in Chimanimani district in southeastern Zimbabwe. The displaced villagers are sheltered in tents at different camps in the district since March last year. For 14 months, they've battled varying weather elements. Only tents have stood between them and the seasonal inclement weather. Rains have pounded, one winter gone by, and another beckons. Rutendo Madzia, one of the displaced villagers sheltered at Garikai camp, dreads the looming cold spell. She prays for proper accommodation before winter falls.
Ndaikumbirawo kuti hurumende yedu dai yatibatsirawo nokuti akirawo dzimba nokuti sezvo tiine vana vacheche vanokwanisa kupindwa nechando.
Rutendo, a mother of 3, fears the worst for her children as the temperatures gradually drop to pave way for Zimbabwe's coldest season.
Saka taikumbirawo kuti dai yatibatsirawo tikurumidze kubudawo matendi.
She is not the only one who's anxious about the approaching cold spell. Marvelous Zimuti, another villager at Garikai camp, is equally apprehensive.
Zvakafanana kana majuzi kana mablankets atina vanhu vanongobatwa neflu every day. Kupfekedza majuzi kutoita chioma ndikupfeke chioma chopfekedza chioma upfekedza saka tiri kurwadziwa zvakanyanya kutovata wakapfeka majuzi nematrauzi.
But this is no ordinary winter. It is a winter in an era where the COVID-19 pandemic has held the entire world hostage. Health experts have warned of a possible spike in cases of this respiratory disease during winter. Marvelous and her ilk at Garikai camp are well aware of this.
Tinotochengetedzera pavana vetinonga tinawo. Mwana wangu achakwanisi kuenda kotamba nemwana umwe paneti. Ndakutoti kana ndamugezesa otopinda mumba otogara imomo. Ndozvetonga teitobatsirika kubuda unga achienda kutoilet kakuchera mvura achidzokera achigara mumba ndokuti kwasa kuzvichengetedza.
Tichitarisa chirwere chiriko cheCovid-19 dambudziko riripo ngerekuti kuchibuda kwacho kuti unoenda kunotsvaga kuti uwane chekudya panonesa.
Winter could spell double, if not triple, jeopardy for displaced villagers. They've survived a ravaging cyclone and contended extreme weather conditions in makeshift accommodation. Now they fear COVID-19. But dire circumstances are forcing some of the villagers to look the beast in the eye.
But wazhinji kuti tigare mudzimba nenhau yenyaya yenzara hatikwanisi kunga tichigara mudzimba. Titifambawo tichipuka-pukawo kuti tikwanise kuwana chekurarama nacho.
Amidst all this, the villagers have one request to authorities, and that is decent accommodation.
Authorities in Nigeria's oil-rich southern Rivers State have demolished 2 hotels over an alleged breach of lockdown rules intended to contain the spread of coronavirus. State Governor Nyesom Wike, who supervised the tearing down of Edemete Hotel and Protest Home on Sunday, said the operators had flouted an order that hotels should be closed. He said that people who had tested positive for the virus had been found in hotels across the state, but he did not say if anyone who had COVID-19 had been staying in either of the demolished hotels. The global pandemic has left millions of Indonesians struggling to make ends meet. Now, authorities are rolling out rice ATMs in a bid to ensure greater access for those in need to the Asian staple. The rice dispensary, one of 10 in and around Jakarta, is part of a government initiative to assist those worst affected by the coronavirus outbreak, which has caused millions to lose their jobs in Southeast Asia's largest economy. United States President Donald Trump abruptly halted a news conference on Monday after being challenged by an Asian American reporter whom he told, "Don't ask me, ask China." During a question and answer session, Wei Jiang, White House correspondent, asked why the president constantly emphasizes that the United States is doing better than any other country when it comes to testing. Trump was clearly not amused.
Many times that the U.S. is doing far better than any other country when it comes to testing.
Yes.
Why does that matter? Why is this a global competition to you if every day Americans are still losing their lives and we're still seeing more cases every day?
Well, they're losing their lives everywhere in the world. And maybe that's a question you should ask China. Don't ask me, ask China that question, okay? When you ask them that question, you may get a very unusual answer. Yes, behind you, please.
Sir, why are you saying that to me specifically?
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it specifically to anybody. I'm saying it to anybody that would ask a nasty question like that.
That's not a nasty question.
Please go ahead.
Why does it matter?
Okay, anybody else? Please, go ahead in the back, please.
I have 2 questions.
No, it's okay.
But
We'll
you
go
pointed
over
to me. I have 2 questions, Mr.
Next,
President.
next, please.
But you called on me.
I did, and you didn't respond, and now I'm calling on
Sorry, I just
the young lady in the back, please.
I just wanted to let my colleague finish.
Okay.
But can I ask you
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We move now to sports, where Highlanders coach Mark Harrison has separated with the club. The coach joined at the beginning of the year and only took charge of the Castle Challenge Cup against FC Platinum, losing 2-0 in the process. The developments come at a time Highlanders were negotiating with the Britain for a salary cut. In announcing the decision, Highlanders said it's only a temporary suspension of the contract. The decision by New Zealand to give rugby the green light to start has generated a lot of debate. Super Rugby will restart next month following Monday's announcement that the country will move to COVID-19 alert level 2 on Thursday. This is against the background that rugby is top among disciplines considered contact sports. Is this a risk that New Zealand or any other country can take at this stage? In Formula One, Sebastian Vettel is set to leave Ferrari at the end of the 2020 season after failing to agree to a new contract with the team. Reports say negotiations for a new deal have been ongoing since beginning of the year. Now, have you ever wondered why French League 2 side Le Havre bought Zimbabwe international Tino Kadewere from Swedish side Djurgården? Kadewere reveals that.
They have bought me as a replacement of their striker that had left, and they wanted me to fill in that game. So when I came to Le Havre, it was not for development, it was for, to kill directly.
Much of Kadewere's journey remains unknown, but to get to know more about his journey from Harare to City Giants Lyon, watch Sports Daily coming up next.
Hello and welcome to ZTN Sports Daily with all the latest scores and stories from around the world of sport. My name is Howard Msonda and we have plenty of sport coming your way. Well, coming up on the show, Zimbabwe rugby star who's also a medical doctor hangs boots to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. France-based Zimbabwean footballer Tino Kadewere tells his journey from Zimbabwe to Lyon. And we catch up with Zimbabwe triple jumping sensation Chengetai Mapaya, who's training at home to maintain his fitness. And Zimbabwe Rugby 7 star Ryan O'Neill believes sport will take a knock during COVID-19. All this and much more coming up on Sports Daily. The world of sport has been rocked by coronavirus outbreak. Everyone from top professionals to passionate amateurs has felt the impact of lockdown measures taken by various governments across the globe. Zimbabwe rugby star Tafuma Parenyatwa is among the health workers confronting the coronavirus pandemic head-on. Sports Daily reporter Lance Chihande gives us more on the Harare Sports Club 8-man, who has hung his rugby boots to fight the pandemic as a medical doctor.
The virus has put world sport on hold. Literally everything has stopped. Well, here in Zimbabwe, we have got one sports personality by the name of Tafuma Parenyatwa.
The Zimbabwe Sables 8th man, who last played for the national team 2 years ago, says COVID-19 has altered his routine, a change which he says is difficult to adhere to.
It's painful. It's painful because you're so used to watching your Champions League, watching your Super Rugby, watching your Premier League, and now there's none of that. You're used to, on Saturday afternoon, going to play rugby or going to watch a rugby match, and now it's all gone.
This is a very frustrating period for sports people. No gym, no sports activities, no going out even to play. When will this end?
That's a very good question. You know, I can even ask you, when is this going to end? I mean, because it's new to all of us, we don't know what's going to happen. I think first, the less contact sports are the ones that are going to start coming back into the fold, you know, like maybe your golf or, you know, sports that don't necessarily need contact person to person. With rugby, it's a very high contact sport. So to say that people will be going back into scrums and, guys, I don't know.
In these difficult times, the ability of sports to bring people together is missed more than ever. The industry itself may be in new territory, but with the right strategies can emerge from the crisis stronger and more popular than ever. Reporting for Sports Daily, I'm Lance Chihande in Harare, Zimbabwe.
While still on rugby, Zimbabwe Sables and Cheetahs star Ryan O'Neill believes things will never be the same in sport after COVID-19. The global pandemic has forced many countries to go on lockdown, and sport has also come to a standstill. Already clubs from different sports are being forced to make budget cuts in the face of an uncertain future. Some players have agreed to pay cuts. O'Neill told ZTN that every sport personality will need to play their part for things to go back to normal.
Yeah, I think the harsh reality is that sports will take a knock during the COVID-19 and the lockdown, but I think everyone will realize how much they've missed sports during the time, and I truly believe that sports has the ability to change people's lives. So hopefully us as sportsmen can throw ourselves back into sports in as big a way as possible, and calling for all sports fanatics out there to go out and support sports again and go and watch games and tune into live games and support the sportsmen who are playing. That'll be the only way that sports can flourish again after the lockdown.
You're watching Sports Daily. When we come back, we get an exclusive from Tino Kadewere as he talks about his journey from Zimbabwe to Europe and then playing for one of the top clubs in Europe. In these trying times, we have noticed so much around us has changed, including the way we watch, interact and play sport. But fear not, from athletes to couch potatoes, some creative minds are filling the void. Let's now go to Lance Chihande, who will give us what's trending on social media.
Well, thanks, Howard. You talk about the COVID-19 pandemic slowing the flow of world sport to a drop Well, spare a thought for the commentators, the motor-mouthed men and women who call the action on our televisions and radios have been left without purpose, silenced by this global emergency. But there are a few commentators who won't let the total lack of sport stop them from commentating. Let's link up with rugby commentator and journalist Nick Heath and see what he has been up to, starting with the pigeon dressing.
Well, you join me live outside St Nicholas Church, and it's pigeon dressage that has our attention for the next few moments. And our focus is drawn to this man, runner-up last year, of course, and hoping this year to go one better and claim top spot. And you can tell he's been preparing for this for a long time. He's got 2 standard legs and all of his toes, so vastly unlike most of the crackhead pigeons you see around these parts. And you can see how keen he is to disassociate himself from the rest, but occasionally blending in momentarily as they feast on, is it rice, seed, probably vomit? What comes up must go down. Disgusting.
And well, some dodgy football in the Kipi Api Challenge.
Sunny days sweeping the clouds away. You join me live here for the Kipi Api Academy finals. Girl in pink, they're just losing control. Everybody losing control by the looks of it. And, well, now a chance to toss the ball back in and see if anyone can redeem themselves. And Girl in pink has another go. Oh, no, still not really enhanced her reputation there, has she? But now then, maybe she'll catch this. No, she's not going to. Allow someone else to have a go.
Now, the BBC's Andrew Cotter, known as the voice of rugby and golf, has got in on the act as he commentates his pet dogs racing to chow down their lunch in his garden.
Fitting that it should come down to these two. Olive in her familiar black, 5 times the champion. Mabel, the rising star, winner last year. You can see how excited they are, but also feel the tension.
Get on with it.
And here it's in the crowd as we near the start of this final. And now they go, Olive away first, but a problem with Mabel's ball. That might cost her now, having to play catch-up. Both settling quickly into rhythm. You can see the contrast in styles. Mabel, heavy tail use, happy to be alive. Everything's amazing. Olive more steady, wasting little energy. Very much of the old Labrador school. Eating's a serious business.
Well, interesting there. Maybe I should get hold of my own dogs, set up a couple of bowls in my yard and maybe allow them to go and just eat and commentate on that whilst COVID-19 has got us on lockdown. Well, and an old video of a man imitating popular Zimbabwean commentator has been doing the rounds on Twitter. Check this out.
Because when there is a man, you always brand it. Here comes the Mozi Tunga now. This is the rest of it. This is man who can do it for Timbari. The Mozi Tunga! Open fire! It's a goal!
Australian cricketer David Warner has traded sporting attire with his wife Candice in an amusing snap they shared online. The picture posted to Candice's Instagram account features David in one of her old Iron Woman racing costumes and her in one of his Australian ODI uniforms. The picture has been trending with the hashtag Switch It Up Challenge, and it has proved popular, receiving over 36,000 likes.
Well, thanks a lot to Lance. He's been scouring the internet to get those nice sports tidbits. You're still watching Sports Daily. Now, Zimbabwean international Tino Kadewere has taken us on a journey from Zimbabwe to French giants Lyon, and the start with the time when local giants Dynamos rejected him.
They said I wasn't good enough to play for them. I don't know if it was the head coach's message, but I believe maybe it was not him because he was not around at that moment when we went for the trials. So yeah, of course I was hurt.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Dynamos are kicking themselves right now because imagine the amount of money they would have spent to make with Kadewere moving to Europe. Well, his first club in Europe was Djurgården in Sweden before he moved to French League 2 side Le Havre. He explained his breakthrough.
So, to be honest, I think my move to Europe happened very fast. It happened very quick. It was just in a short period, but that was good. That was actually a great achievement because I played 1.5 years in Harare City. The first year I was still a junior. I did not play that much. I played a few games, and at that time when I went to Harare City, it was for development. So I developed a lot, you know, getting to play with professional players and getting to learn how to play with professional players because I was just coming from school. And then the second year under Taumangwiro, he told me, you are not a boy anymore and you need to fight for you to play. So I fought really hard for me to get the chance to play, and eventually it happened. I played 6 months. Those were just incredible 6 months of my life because it changed everything. It changed my life, it changed my family's life and everything. So moving to Djurgården, it was the same also. When I went to Djurgården, I was signed as a junior also, and they told me I have to develop also. So it was the same scenario all the time.
So football ended prematurely because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but in France, PSG were they were the winners according to French football authorities, and Lyon came out number 7. So what does this mean? Kadewere will not be going back to Le Havre. He'll be joining his new club, Lyon. But what was really going on during that time when Premiership teams like Spurs and Aston Villa were linked with his signature?
To be honest, that was that was very difficult for me at that moment because I couldn't settle. You know, all the time I was on my phone with my agent and discussing all these things, and we had a lot of options. But you know, I sit down also with my family. I sit down with my brothers in Zimbabwe and then with my agent also, and we considered what was the best for me. So of course I had clubs in England and other countries, but I would say England because it's the best league, of course. But I looked at the clubs, and most of the clubs were like they're the ones that are fighting relegation.
You're watching Sports Daily. When we come back, we catch up with one of Zimbabwe's brightest prospects, a triple jumper, Chengetai Mapai. In athletics, we were in touch with the triple jumping sensation, Chengetai Mapai, to find out how he's keeping fit.
Staying indoors is just the safest thing to do right now. And just to stay fit, I've been doing a lot of cardio exercises involving star jumps, high knees, butt kicks, everything involving things that we can do indoors. I've been doing a program called Insanity Max that my coach gave me. It just helps with like staying fit and not just sitting at home doing nothing. And I've also been doing a lot of core workouts for core stability. And honestly speaking, after this lockdown, I feel like things will go back to normal and everything will be better. And I feel like people appreciate what they take for granted, just being able to go outside every single day and doing regular things, walking to the shops. I feel like people are going to be more appreciative of what has happened. I feel like this is a blessing in disguise, and it's a good time to think about ourselves and just be better people mentally and just physically also. And yeah, I feel like everything is going to go back to normal as soon as possible. You just have to stay faith and stay hopeful that everything will work out.
Papa is on a track and field scholarship at Texas Christian University in the United States and is one of Zimbabwe's brightest prospects. Now that's it for today. You're watching Sports Daily on ZTN, your daily sports show on weekdays that you don't want to miss. So we're back again tomorrow. My name is Howard Bisonga.